This brutal ritual was created in 835 AD, and since then, countless monks have tried to do it. However, only 24 have ever actually been successful. There are 3 phases. Phase 1 is called Moku Jikagayo, which roughly means tree-eating training. Monks will only eat byproducts of trees, things like seeds, nuts, tree bark, tree roots, and they will collect all this food on their own. At the end of the 1000th day of Phase 1, if the monk has survived, they are ready to move on to Phase 2. Phase 2 is significantly more challenging. Phase 2 is called Nyojo, and it roughly translates to deep meditation. These monks need to enter into a sort of trance-like state, almost like an out-of-body experience, because what they're going to go through in this phase is so physically uncomfortable. For Phase 2, you basically just sit alone by yourself for 100 days while simultaneously drinking a poisonous tea that causes a massive allergic reaction inside of your throat and stomach that causes an intense itching sensation inside of you that you cannot physically itch. Also, this poisonous tea gives you explosive and it makes you a lot. If you somehow manage to survive all 100 days of Phase 2, and unfortunately many monks don't, you automatically move on to Phase 3. Phase 3 is either the easiest or the hardest part of the Sokushinbutsu ritual, depending on how you look at it. The Phase 3 monk has a small pine box that has no windows built just for them. It needs to be big enough that they can sit inside of it in the lotus pose. The monk climbs into this box, they put a lid over the top of it, but they put a bamboo shoot, like a bamboo pole, through the cover of this box, so there is a breathing tube for this monk inside of this box. And then they lower the monk inside of the small pine box 10 feet into this hole in the ground, and then once they ensure the bamboo pole is going to be above ground so they can breathe, they fill the hole in with charcoal. Phase 1, tree-eating training, serves 2 purposes. The first is it's kind of like a big gut check. It really shows who wants to do this ritual and who doesn't. The second purpose of Phase 1 is to literally shrink the monk. The tree-eating diet removes all of their body fat and a lot of their muscle, and so they're incredibly lean by the end of Phase 1. And this will be significant when we talk about the end of Phase 3. Phase 2, deep meditation phase, serves 2 purposes as well. The first purpose is that it puts the monk into that trance-like state, and then the second purpose it serves is the toxin inside of this poisonous tea kills off all of the naturally occurring bacteria and parasites inside of the monk. Again, that will become significant when we get to the end of Phase 3. For several days, the 3rd phase monk will sit in total darkness and meditate constantly, and each day they have a bell down there with them. They ring the bell. That's the only thing they have to do besides meditate. And above ground, there is a team of monks that are supporting this ritual, and they're listening for that bell. And the first day they don't hear the bell, it means the monk in the box has completed the ritual, and now it is time to see if they have attained nirvana. In Buddhism, someone whose body does not decay, aka a mummy, is someone who has cheated death. And to cheat death is to remove yourself from the vicious human life cycle of birth, suffering, death, repeat. Meaning, becoming a mummy is a way to attain nirvana. And Sokushinbutsu is a self-mummification ritual. Phase 1 shrinks the monk's body, it removes their fat and muscle, it also removes a lot of moisture inside of their body, and their diet also withholds nutrients to all of the bacteria and parasites that naturally occur inside of their bodies. And so those bacteria and parasites that normally would play a big role in helping your body after death begin to die off. The Phase 2 poisonous tea, that toxin that they're drinking, that kills off the remainder of the bacteria and parasites that did not die during Phase 1. Also, all the and completely dehydrates them, which aids in slowing down after death. Finally, phase 3 is the death phase. The monk goes into their tomb, they're buried underground, and they ring that bell each day to tell the people on the ground that they are still alive. And then when the bell stops ringing, it means the monk in the box is dead. At which point, the crew on the ground removes the bamboo breathing pole and then lets the body sit in the box underground for another 1,000 days. And then after 1,000 days, they pull the box up, they lift the lid off, and if there is little to no signs of on their body, it means the self-mummification ritual worked, they're a mummy, they've attained nirvana, and now their body is holy. And so they're brought out of the box, they're dressed in robes, they're placed in the monasteries, and they are worshipped. As for the unlucky monks who get to the end of Sokushinbutsu, but are found to be inside of their box when they're brought back up again, they're just placed back inside of their pine box and buried, and they are not worshipped. Sokushinbutsu was made illegal in Japan in the late 19th century, but we know monks continued to practice it into the 20th century, and in theory, today, monks still might practice it in secret. Just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.